Viewers, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on his first trip abroad after Operation Sindoor. Apart from visiting Cyprus, Canada and Croatia, Modi will also be on the same table as President Trump at the G7 summit. The conglomeration of all of these factors means that the week ahead is sure to generate a lot of globally significant headlines. In fact, earlier today, the Prime Minister departed from Cyprus as he leaves now for the G7 summit in Canada. Remember, the Prime Minister's decision to choose Cyprus as the first nation for his foreign visit following Operation Sindoor is telling, because this could be seen as a message to Turkey as well as all those who support the Turkey-Pakistan tango, both abroad and within India. To put things in perspective, here is why Cyprus is crucial to India, particularly in these times. It has been pro-India, has supported the nuclear tests in 1998 as well. At the same time, it has supported India's candidature at the United Nations Security Council, with India particularly during the Indo-Pak crisis as well. They have been strongly with India. They have been anti-Turkey, in conflict with Turkey since 1974. The Prime Minister's visit, therefore, is of strategic importance and a signal clearly to Turkey, because Turkey has backed Pakistan post the Pahalgam terror attack. It's also been a key ally in the EU because it's a member of the European Union, is expected to hold the EU presidency in 2026 as well, and India wants stronger ties with Europe in the current scenario. But viewers, for the opposition, these visits are nothing but picnics. You heard that right. The Congress party says that this is just a picnic or a jaunt. They believe the PM is only busy in PR and brand management. They say that he has Cyprus and Croatia in his itinerary only because it was on Narendra Modi's personal bucket list, quote unquote. Remember, viewers, this comes at a time when their own leader and the LOP, Rahul Gandhi, is reportedly not in India at the moment. And yet, the Prime Minister goes abroad on an official visit. For them, it's just a picnic. Listen in.
And these picnics and these jaunts do not bring anything for the country. These picnics and these jaunts do not bring anything for the country. The Prime Minister doesn't know what foreign policy is. The damage he's done to the foreign policy of our country is unparalleled, and it will take decades for any new government to undo that damage.
इतने भरोसे के बावजूद विदेश नीति पूरी तरह से फेल हो गई। आपके ऊपर देश पूरा भरोसा कर रहा है, आपकी विदेश नीति कहाँ है? आज हम कहाँ खड़े हुए हैं?
और वो सिप्रस गए हैं, जहाँ पे जाने का कोई फायदा नहीं है। वो सिर्फ इसलिए गए चूंकि टर्की के और सिप्रस के रिश्ते बहुत ख़राब हैं। हमारी फॉरेन पॉलिसी होनी चाहिए कि जो लोग, जो कंट्रीज हमारे खिलाफ हैं, हम कोशिश करें उनके साथ रिश्ता बनाने की, बजाय इसके सिप्रस जाने से भारत को कोई फ़ायदा नहीं होगा, बल्कि टर्की के और हमारे रिश्ते और ज़्यादा ख़राब हो जाएंगे।
And maybe, viewers, that's why it's important to remember how more diplomacy has really delivered on multiple occasions. In Iran, in 2025, where Iran has allowed Indian students to be escorted out of the Indian embassy, in fact, has started their relocation for its safety. In Qatar, in 2023, 8 former Indian naval officers were on the death row. The Prime Minister later met the Qatar Emir and the death sentence was commuted, I beg your pardon. In Sudan in 2023, Operation Kaveri evacuated around 4,000 Indians. As far as the Ukraine-Russia war is concerned, in 2022, Operation Ganga, we saw 22,000 Indians being evacuated. In the Afghanistan coup of 2021, we saw Operation Devi Shakti, where over 700 people were evacuated. And when it comes to the Yemen civil war as well, in 2015, Operation Rahat saw the evacuation of over 5,000 Indians. Let's now open this up for debate with our guests.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining us now is RP Singh, BJP National spokesperson. Professor Jyotsna Tirunagiri is TDP's national spokesperson. Tushar Gupta is a political analyst joining us. We also have with us Dr. Akashdeep Muni, political analyst. Ghanshyam Tiwari is national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. We also have Asif Ansari, who is joining us on the show. Let me start with you first and foremost. Ghanshyam, why would you call this a picnic? Surely a messaging to Cyprus is important. Certainly, of course, the visit to Canada, where there are G7 countries over there. We all know what has happened between India and Canada, diplomatically speaking. Certainly, picnic is not the most appropriate word. Would you agree?
Good evening, Madhav, to you, the viewers and the fellow co-panelists. Iran and Israel should make a deal and will make a deal, just like I got India and Pakistan to make. In that case, by using trade with the United States to bring reason, cohesion, and sanity, and blah, blah, blah. This is what President Donald Trump tweeted as Prime Minister went abroad. Whether it is picnic, whether it is tourism, whether it is foreign policy, it is a failure of all three. That at a time when India refrained to commit to the decision at SCO, at a time that the world wants to hear the voices of those who claim for 10 years that they are Vishwagurus, they are silent. And other leaders are talking on their behalf. President Trump has no business to speak on behalf of Prime Minister Modi. We can hear him. We have for 11 years complained that the Prime Minister doesn't listen. But for the first time on your show, I'm complaining that Prime Minister has stopped talking. Okay. Our defense minister would not speak.
Okay. Let me put that question across to the BJP. In fact, Advocate Amol Pawar is national spokesperson of Aam Aadmi Party, also joining us on the panel. RP Singh, your response to Ghanshyam Tiwari, he says that why is President Trump speaking for India? Why that justifies as being called a picnic is, of course, another issue of debate. But for the moment, please respond to him.
Well, let me first address the question of picnic and why there is so much of pain for the opposition when Prime Minister is visiting Cyprus. Because Cyprus is a nation which has taken clutches against Turkey. And then they are all friend of Turkey because Turkey is enemy of India. And they have to be friend of any other country which is enemy of India. They are friends with them. And then they are targeting a particular vote bank. That's why they are friends of Turkey. Otherwise, we all know what Turkey has done during this Pakistan-India conflict. How Turkey has supplied drones. Whereas Cyprus stood by India. So, going to a nation which has stood by you, which is open to any sort of relationship which supports India's fight against terrorism or even the Kashmir issue. They have been very categorical on all these subjects. And then if the Prime Minister visits the country and builds up a better relationship, they have problem with the issue. And Cyprus has stood by us also with the European Union gambit of the free trade also, which is going to happen by year end, which is hopefully happening by year end. So Cyprus support us there also, but they have problems in that also because they will go to any extent for their local vote bank game here. They will support any nation. They'll go support anyone who is against India also, whether it's Turkey or Pakistan. How does it matter to them? But coming to question of Donald Trump, they don't believe in Indian DGMO. They don't believe in MEA. Man, Donald Trump has said many things about a lot of nations. So Donald Trump has also said that India-Pakistan war on Kashmir is almost 1,000-year-old. So Donald Trump has his own agenda or has his own input system.
Okay.
But we are very clear. We are very clear that it is bilateral and nothing more than bilateral relationship with India, Pakistan and India, and whatever will happen bilaterally.
All right, let me bring in some other panelists as well. In fact, Amol Pawar, what is the exact objection is what the question being raised here by BJP is. They are saying that on the one hand, you have a clear signaling to Turkey, which has supported Pakistan with the Prime Minister's presence there in Cyprus. And clearly, of course, when it comes to Canada as well, that's a very, very important visit. Not just, of course, as far as bilateral relations with Canada is concerned, but also there's a G7 meeting that is to happen there, where there are top world leaders with whom bilateral meetings will take place. Why are we then belittling or mocking this trip is a question that is being asked.
Good evening, Madhavji. Madhavji, there are multiple instances which clearly indicates that Modi's foreign policy is a complete failure. First point, India quietly agreed to a ceasefire under the US pressure. Secondly, just now BJP spokesperson RP Singh ji said that opposition will support any country. वो पाकिस्तान को भी support कर देंगे, Turkey को भी support कर देंगे. I want to ask him that why is BJP's UP government's delegation visiting China? Why are they welcoming China in Uttar Pradesh? अभी हाल फिलहाल में उन्हें फैक्ट्री लगाने का प्रस्ताव दिया है. क्यों ले रहे हैं इन्वेस्टमेंट चाइना से? ऐसा क्या प्यार है? क्या isn't China supported Pakistan during the Pahalgam attack? Third instance, India opposed IMF funding to Pakistan, but we found ourselves stood diplomatically alone at that time. Despite globe trotting, हम अकेले खड़े थे उस समय. Fourth point, you might have heard last week, it was Pakistan who has been appointed to chair the Taliban Sanction Committee by the UN Security Council. मतलब एक चोर को कहा गया है कि आप खजाने की हिफाजत करो. पाकिस्तान को ये जिम्मेदारी दी गई है कि आतंकवाद के खिलाफ आप निगरानी रखो. ये है हमारी फॉरेन पॉलिसी. And as far as Modi ji's visit
all right,
to
I
a
think
nation which has a population of 12 lakh and is just 10 seconds, and is not larger than Goa, it isn't about diplomacy, it's about his personal ambition. वो चाहते हैं कि देश उन्हें इस बात के लिए याद रखे कि एक प्रधानमंत्री हुए थे जिन्होंने 150 देश की यात्रा की और उनका नाम गिनीज बुक ऑफ वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड में आया. बिकॉज डिस्पाइट ट्रैवलिंग 150
कैसी बात कर रहे हैं आप? कम ऑन अनमोल पवार, लेट्स आई मीन दिस इज अ सीरियस डिबेट, प्लीज इसके लिए गिनीज बुक
नो.
I don't know. I don't even know how to respond to that last point. You earlier had some points that you were making, but let me bring in Tushar on at least 2 or 3 of those important points. You know, whether it's the United Nations or other places, the government and India's position has not exactly been strengthened under this government, is the claim coming in from opposition parties. Tushar, your response to that?
Absolutely frivolous claim, Madhav, meant not to be taken seriously, but I do not blame the ones making this claim because the regional parties often have a very narrow perspective of how diplomacy functions. Their framework is restricted to their local politics, their local elections, and they're not in a position, or rather they do not believe they're in a position to think about national interests first. Now, for instance, one of the panelists here said, oh, look, the Cyprus population is less than that of Goa. But the same spokesperson won't tell you that Cyprus, even with its size, is going to assume the chair of the European Union Business Council next year, which makes it important because India is already pursuing a free trade agreement with the European Union. They won't tell you that Cyprus is equally important when you look at the India-Middle East corridor, again, which is what is India pursuing. But more importantly, there is a lot of history to it, Madhav. In 1974, Turkey invaded 1/3 part of Cyprus. Now that is known as the Turkish Republican of Northern Cyprus, and that area is still under the control of Turkey. And the Prime Minister visited that point with the leadership of Cyprus earlier today. He stood before those mountains, and the place has been marked. Now, what is this going on? This is a message being sent out to Turkey, and not just Turkey. This is a message also for Greece and Armenia. These 3 countries, Cyprus, Armenia, and Greece, they all are military aligned against Turkey, but are seeking defense cooperation with India. If someone needs to understand, the same panelists who are complaining today were a month ago saying that, look, Turkey has supplied drones to Pakistan. This is the failure of Narendra Modi's foreign policy. But the same panelists today are complaining that when the same Prime Minister is seeking deepness in diplomatic and defense ties with Cyprus, Greece, and Armenia against Turkey, then they have a problem. Look, there are a lot of nuances to it. Even over the weekend, when the Indians voted, when abstained from the Gaza resolution, we have to understand that this is a hostile world. We have to pursue our interests. India is not obligated to negotiate with its enemies. India, unlike what the Congress says, is not obligated to strike a dialogue with its enemies. We will deal with whoever we want to as per our convenience, as per our national security interests. But again, I do not expect the regional parties like Ghanshyam Tiwari or the Aam Aadmi Party to understand that.
Okay, let's go one by one. We have other panelists also on the show. Let me quickly bring in fact, on that note, joining us at the moment, Akashdeep Muni. Akashdeep Muni, I wanted to take up one of the points that was referred to here by Tushar. You know, in the 1974 invasion, Turkish invasion of Cyprus, 3 Indian commanders served in the UN peacekeeping mission there. This is General Gyani, General Kodendra Subaya Thimaya, who in fact served until his passing. And in fact, we have seen, of course, how General Diwan Premchand was also there. The point being made is all of this has happened when the Congress was in power. And is Congress therefore in a position to question when today the Prime Minister is sending out a signal. Remember that after Operation Sindoor, if the Prime Minister is visiting a country, it is definitely symbolic in nature. Why are we taking away from that by calling it a picnic, so on and so forth?
See, Madhavji, I'll talk only diplomacy. Instead of, now the Cyprus visit, instead of fostering cooperation, public confrontation with Turkey may further, move them away and align them with Pakistan and mutual adversaries. Talking about diplomacy. No, wait a minute, sir. Talking about diplomacy, I'll just quote some of the examples. What happened after Operation Sindoor? Pakistan was elected to UNSC Counter-Terrorism Committee Vice Chair. This is after Operation Sindoor and after Pahalgam attack. And appointed chair of the Taliban Sanction Committee for 2025. This is alarming. No country called Pakistan a terrorist state. And what Pakistan gained after Operation Sindoor is that $1 billion loan from Asian Development Bank and billions from IMF. Russian President Vladimir Putin endorsement of US President Donald Trump mediation. This really hampers our long-standing stance against third-party involvements. Even China's intervention to broker peace between Pakistan and Afghanistan really negated India's outreach to Taliban. Countries like US, Japan, UAE, even our Prime Minister was in UAE when Pahalgam attack happened. Countries like these countries balance their stances, urging restraint rather than supporting India. There was only one country we supported, that is Israel. Clearly, not a single country really spoken against Pakistan. They never called Pakistan as terrorist state. Even Cyprus, where our Prime Minister is. And still we think that Modi's diplomacy is everything good. How can you think? Please, you can be either a Bhatt or a Modi supporter. Otherwise, you can never call Modi's diplomacy good.
Let's not try and find labels for everything that you believe, Mr. Munir. Let's not do that, because then it will be the other way around as well. All right, Tushar wants to quickly respond. One by one, please. I'm coming to you, Jyotsna Tirunagiri, as well as Asif Ansari. Tushar, quick response.
A month ago, the Turkish supplied drones were used by Pakistan. The Prime Minister had not made any visit to Cyprus then, not to Greece, not to Armenia. Then what prompted Turkey to supply drones to Pakistan? Look, the world won't move as per our abstinence or our convenience. The world will move pursuing its own interests. Therefore, it's important India pursues its own interests. And again, Madhav, I repeat, even Akashdeep Muni, who has recently changed sides, he won't get this point. But we have to negotiate with countries that align with our larger security interests. We don't have to see what Turkey will do, what China will do. They will do what they have to do. It's the same logic that we also apply to the Indus Water Treaty. When someone says, oh, look what the Chinese will do in Brahmaputra, they will do what they have to do. It cannot make us stop abstaining from the Indus Water Treaty. India will have to do what it has to do, right, for its security interests. It's that simple.
Akashdeep Muni, quick response and go on to others. Akashdeep Muni.
Just take 10 seconds. हमारे साथ सिर्फ तालिबान और इजराइल खड़ा था और कोई देश नहीं खड़ा था. क्या आपको नहीं लगता ये चिंता का विषय है? तो पाकिस्तान को यूएन काउंटर टेररिज्म इन तालिबान के वाइस चेयर बना दिया गया. क्या आपको लगता नहीं ये प्रॉब्लमेटिक है? अगर ये सब आपको लगता नहीं प्रॉब्लमेटिक है तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है? ये
इसका एक छोटा सा जवाब मैं दूं आपको. इसका मैं एक छोटा सा जवाब दूं आकाशदीप. Over the weekend, when India abstained from the Gaza resolution supporting Israel, why was the Congress upset then? Why was the opposition upset then? आप सही कह रहे हैं, इजराइल हमारे साथ खड़ा हुआ था, पर जब हम इजराइल के साथ खड़े होते हैं तब कांग्रेस को प्रॉब्लम होती है, ऑपोजिशन को प्रॉब्लम होती है. आप उस चीज का जवाब दीजिए. मैं आपका ही लॉजिक आपके खिलाफ सवाल कर रहा हूं कि आपको दिखता है इजराइल हमारे साथ खड़ा है, पर अगर हम इजराइल के साथ खड़े होते हैं आपको दिक्कत है.
क्या वाजपेयी जी से अग्री नहीं करते तुषार जी?
Okay, let me just come in now. There are two panelists who have not yet spoken. Please allow me to come in now. But I want to bring in, Asif Ansari on a simple point. Asif Ansari, this is the position of Cyprus on these issues. It has supported India on Kashmir, terrorism, reforms of the UNSC, as well as, of course, following the April 22nd terror attack in Pahalgam. Cyprus has even pledged to raise the issue of Pakistan's cross-border terrorism at the EU level. If this is what Cyprus's public positions are, what is the issue if India is visiting Cyprus, if the Prime Minister is visiting Cyprus and expressing solidarity with them? They are strategically in an important location. They are going to be heading the EU very soon, with whom, as the BJP spokesperson said, we will have a free trade agreement, and it sends a message to Turkey. What's the problem over here? Asif Ansari.
Well, Madhav, good evening. I just want to draw your attention that it's not about the single country visit of like Cyprus, but we have seen that our Prime Minister in his tenure, he has visited 89 foreign trips. Out of that, he has visited 74 countries. But what the diplomatic gains we have gained in his visits to the other country. Now, when we'll say about the Pahalgam attacks over the Pakistan did, and we have retaliated in with our fullest strength. Now, what happened in the Pakistan in UN? The US minister are appreciating Pakistan for fighting the terrorism. So, where are our diplomatic ties up with the UN? How the US is cooperating us in the Pahalgam attack. Now, at the one side, they are calling that we are the greatest friend of the Mr. Modi and the nation of India. But the second hand, their ministers are appreciating Pakistan for a counter-terrorism. Now, it's a part of the Cyprus is there. We are having our such internal problems that the whole country is lamenting for the Air India crash. That was such a fatal crash has happened. But instead of being given the solidarity to the peoples of country, Prime Minister, it was not that important that he could visit to Cyprus.
So
now we have
bridges. What are you expecting? One second, Mr. Asif Ansari, you're saying that there's a fatal crash. Of course, there's a very tragic crash that has happened. But the Prime Minister and top ministers of the government did visit Ahmedabad. So what is the issue here?
No, not about the issue. Why our Prime Minister is not talking about the serious issues like the China's diplomatic position. Now you are taking a link which is a far more.
Mr. Ansari, you just raised a question on the crash. I'm asking you a counter question. Why are you raising that? Now you're shifting it to China. Anyway, let me bring in Jyotsna Tinunagiri. Professor Jyotsna Tinunagiri, this is a classic case of shifting the goalpost. Make one issue, raise it in national television, and then shift the goalpost. But then there are serious issues of pressing concern domestically which require the PM's attention. Is a larger point being made by Mr. Ansari? Your response?
See, I think, Madhav, there is something called selective memory for certain parties and certain people. I'm sorry to say this. These are the same old people who have forgot that just last month, if I'm not wrong, Madhav, Honorable Prime Minister has cancelled and in fact called off his scheduled three-nation Europe tour amidst the issues with Pakistan and the terror attacks and all that. So I think that there is something called selective memory that these guys have got. Anyways, coming to your question, Madhav, yes, as the Prime Minister of the country, as soon as an issue has happened in Ahmedabad, a fatal crash has happened, immediately he rushed to the spot. He was with the victims, he was with the officials. He immediately ordered for an inquiry, along with the inquiry that was happening from the technical team from the Civil Aviation Ministry. There is also a committee, high-level committee inquiry that's been ordered there. And also, because this is a scheduled trip and also attending the G7 summit in Canada is a key opportunity for India to voice concerns and build alliances on global arena, which we cannot, sideline, Madhav. I don't know why people forget that. Along with that, there are certain other issues that the Honorable Prime Minister has to address, and that's the reason he was visiting the country three-nation tour. But along with that, when he was outside also, he didn't stay calm, Madhav. The domestic crisis that were there in the country as of now, he has spoken to the chief ministers of both the states, Maharashtra and also the other state where the issues have happened. All the officials are on track. They are doing their job. Along with that, the Honorable Prime Minister is also on track. He is doing his job. Globally, what he is supposed to be doing is doing it. Okay. So the whole problem is, Madhav, they can't digest the fact that Honorable Prime Minister is delivering what he is supposed to deliver.
Okay, Ghanshyam wants to respond to you on that. Ghanshyam, the statement from the TDP spokesperson is that the Prime Minister is delivering domestically, he's delivering internationally when it comes to diplomacy, and that's something that the opposition is not able to digest. Your response?
Madhav, the key phrase of the TDP spokesperson is voice concerns. And the key phrase in my opening statement is voice. Where is the voice of the government and the Prime Minister? We don't hear from the Defense Minister. As far as the Israel-Iran conversation is concerned, you stay silent on Israel-Gaza situation at UN. You stay silent on SCO on Israel-Iran situation. You stay silent when our students and professionals in the United States are harassed by the United States. You stay silent even though for the last 1 year or more, thousands of Indian workers have been sent to Israel. Have you heard anybody from the government speaking in concern about them? Has the Prime Minister spoken? You stay silent as the war unfolds and Indian students in Iran need
today
help.
we saw the Prime Minister say that this isn't the era of war. I mean, let's be fair. It's not like you're not hearing anything from the government. The Prime Minister has spoken. He's spoken clearly on war and what the government's position is, Ghanshyam.
This is preaching. There is no room for Vishwaguru here. There's a Prime Minister. He has to speak. We have President Donald Trump playing Vishwaguru at best to the Prime Minister. It is this sham has to be broken.
Okay.
Somebody in the government on this very channel.
Many hands going up. Professor Jyotsna, and then coming to other panelists. Professor Jyotsna,
very quick point, Madhav. Today, when we are speaking here, we have very strongly spoken to Iran, and 10,000 of our students are out. They have a green corridor, not literally a green corridor sort of thing, to come out of the very combative situation there. Madhav, I don't see that this can be forgotten. I think we cannot. That's what I call a selective understanding and selective memory for these people. I'm sorry to say. Do we remember or do we wish to forget all that the Honorable Prime Minister has done? We forget. We tend to forget Operation Ganga. We tend to forget all the other operations that have been across done across the different countries in the world. Shall we forget all those? Shall we forget all those, Madhav?
Okay.
And the other day when an Indian student was literally, he was troubled in the airport in United States of America, and immediately, within hours, our diplomats immediately reached out to
Advocate
them.
Anmol Pawar, respond to that. Why are we forgetting the
that?
diplomatic achievements? What happened during the Russia-Ukraine war is very well known. We've seen what's happened in Libya and different parts of the country, Yemen as well. The question that many are raising, that the pro-government spokesperson are raising, is that why are we belittling our diplomatic achievements?
Yes.
Madhavji, we shall also not forget, as the previous panelist said, we shall also not forget that the 4 terrorists have not been nabbed till date. We shall also not forget that no accountability has been set about the Pahalgam attack. And these statements which are made by Congress and are debated day in and day out on the television sets, on the prime time televisions, these are just attempts by the Congress to help Bharatiya Janata Party gain politically and divert the nation's attention from real issues. ये इनका जो गठजोड़ है ना.
Once again, you're saying these are attempts by Congress to allow the BJP to gain public support. Did you just say that this is an attempt by the Congress to allow BJP to get public support?
Certainly.
How?
Yeah. Yes. How? Because in return, Modi ji ensures that the Congress leaders, the Gandhi family, never faces jail time. ये तो इनका गठबंधन है. ये behind the doors they are supporting each other.
Okay.
ये है इनकी reality. Otherwise, who would make?
Let Akashdeep Muni come in. Akashdeep Muni,
And secondly,
would you like to respond to that?
Mr. Gupta, 10 seconds.
Madhavji,
10 seconds.
Sir, you made a very, very outlandish claim. Let's get in a response, please.
Yeah, saying that Bharatiya Janata Party is supported by Congress, it's living in fool's paradise. Most welcome to Advocate Anmol Pawar. But my point is now that one simple question I'll take 5 seconds to ask to Professor Jyotsna. Professor Jyotsna, in 2018, PDP took a resolution saying that the Modi government is dictatorial. Do you still stand by it, or you apologize, or will today you apologize to the nation that you lied to the nation then?
Can I answer, sir?
Quickly, quickly.
No. I think if I have to go by the words of Dr. Akash, I'll say that, sir, at that particular point of time, there were. Let me complete my point. You asked me a question, I'm answering you.
Yes, allow her to speak.
You need to allow me to speak. So the point is, at that particular point of time, we have raised concerns on certain things that were done by the NDA government then, and we have stood by that. We haven't gone behind on that.
Okay.
After that, listen, after that, we have very clearly stated where things have gone wrong, what has gone wrong.
Okay, I think we are veering away from our topic of debate, and therefore I want to bring in RP Singh as well on the statement of Akashdeep, on the statement of Anmol Pawar, beg your pardon. RP Singh, how do you respond to Mr. Pawar's statement that this is statements coming in from the Congress party that are going to benefit you politically speaking? Your response to the AAP spokesperson, Mr. Singh.
Well, it's the pain of the jail which is making him issue such statement. I mean, because the corruption which he have done, and because of that, the court has ordered, as per the court order, or they were sent to jail, and then they couldn't get the bail from the court also in the initial stage. Later on, they got the bail. So it's matter of judiciary, not us who decide who will be in jail and when he will be in jail, when the cases will be decided, and by when the cases will be decided. But is it from the same party where Kejriwal asked about the Balakot attack? Or he asked a question, the surgical strike, कि कितने लोग मरे थे वहां पर? Kejriwal said कितने लोग मरे थे वहां पर? So they are all bedfellows of the enemies of the country.
Can I come?
They will go to any extent to, because of their political, I never interrupted anyone. Because of their political game plan here, they'll go to any extent of supporting anyone who opposes India, whether it is Turkey or whether it is Pakistan. Remember, after application of 370-35A, Rahul Gandhi said, Kashmir mein khoon ki nadiyan beh rahi hain, katlon ke rahat ho rahi hain. And Imran Khan quoted him in the UN, saying that yes, it's the leader of the opposition who is saying so. And similarly, the army in their press conference in Pakistan recently showed video of Kharge Sahab and Rahul Gandhi.
Let me put one question across to Mr. Muni though. Mr. Muni, it's very well to raise questions of the Prime Minister. It's okay. It's part of our domestic politics. But where is Mr. Rahul Gandhi? At a time when Mr. Rahul Gandhi is abroad, how correct is it to call the Prime Minister's official visit a picnic, sir?
See, Madhav G, Rahul Gandhi is not the Prime Minister of this country.
He's the LOP. The last I heard, that's a constitutional post.
He is not the Prime Minister of this country.
But he's the LOP, as I just said.
The person who rules the government is Honorable Prime Minister. Honorable Prime Minister is going to Cyprus. And Honorable Prime Minister, when going to Cyprus and supporting them clearly, this is total going against our diplomatic immunity.
How?
When you support Cyprus,
How is it going against our diplomacy? It's a clear message being sent to Turkey, Dr. Muni.
When you
don't see that?
Aligning Turkey with Pakistan, don't you think it's a thing of concern?
I mean, I don't even get this logic, Dr. Muni, but yes, RP Singh, would you like to respond? Yeah.
Party will support Hamas. No, party will support Hamas. What do you expect from them? Their leader, Priyanka Vadra, is on record supporting Hamas. So what do you expect from them?
Your party in Punjab made a declaration.
सर ये जो चश्मा पहना हुआ है ना वोट बैंक का इसको उतारिए
ठीक है you previously had terrorists in your party which you threw. Should I give examples of that today? Please don't.
Who is terrorist in my party? No. Who is terrorist in my party? It is your leader. It was your former party leader who slept with the terrorist.
Can you give me an example? Can you give me proof that the Congress party supported Hamas? No. So please don't give frivolous allegations here.
No. Yes, please go to Priyanka Vadra's Twitter handle.
Okay.
Sir, please go through Priyanka Vadra's Twitter handle.
What has she said?
Now, please tell me one thing. That was Pakistan today.
No, she has supported Hamas.
Called the ceasefire. Please tell me.
All right. Gentlemen, let's leave it there. Of course, allegations and counter allegations will be there. Ultimately, when we're talking about diplomacy, we should be talking about national interest. And ultimately, when you're talking about a country that is trying to spread terror in India, can we and should we not be putting up a united stand against Pakistan? That's the only question that matters, particularly given the kind of hostilities that we've seen recently with Pakistan is concerned. We'll have to leave it there. RP Singh, Professor Jyotsna Tirunagiri, Tushar Gupta, Advocate Kapil Madan, as well as, I beg your pardon, Ghansham Tiwari, Advocate Anmol Pawar, and Asif Ansari. Thanks so much for joining us, as well as Akash Deepuni this evening on The Debate.